Today, Neil Koelbl joins me to talk about the formation of GRLDC, our expectations for the group, and a few upcoming events. All right. Well, as I said, joining me today is Neil Koelbl. You and I worked together a long time ago. We've shared stories throughout the years. We all had a lot of the same war stories. And about a year and a half ago, we started talking about a development council as an advocate for market solutions to our affordability crisis. And that's what intrigued me about Georgia Residential Land Development Council. Why did you decide you should get involved?
Yeah, so I think that it's maybe just the timing of my career that is you see it a little more broader, I think, at this point in my career of the need for housing. It's not just building units and trying to generate cash flow and make a profit. It is all about those things. We obviously need profit to continue our businesses and employ people, but seeing the greater good of home building and what we're producing in our markets for people that need housing, that are what I like to refer to as middle America.
Mhm.
And so, for whatever reason, seeing that at this point in my career, that need of especially the importance of eliminating non-necessary expenses that we all run into, and also this time around, Jay, it seems like the stuff that we deal with is just getting a little bit worse, and it was felt like it was really time to invest not only time but money to undo some of the things that maybe we've just fallen asleep on
Mhm.
in the industry that is now coming back to not only bite our businesses but really hinder the good things that come from owning a home.
And Neil is a founder and one of the most significant and first investors in GRLDC, and we're all benefiting from that. Thank you, Neil.
Yes, sir.
So, what do you think is the risk? What is jeopardizing home ownership for people in your eyes?
In my eyes, the attainable, uh, the house prices outpacing incomes.
Hmm.
So that's just something that I see is a possible um, uh, cultural shift that is negative for our societies, our communities.
Hmm.
It has to do with family structures, and so that gap between income and um, uh, the rising cost of housing, and it's naturally going to do it on its own. You know, housing is something that is such a unique product and that it appreciates over time. It's such a
Hmm.
neat vehicle for creating generational wealth. But as that gap widens, income just has not kept up with price of housing, and then all of the benefits that come from that, from starting families, and then having a solid, focused workforce.
Hmm.
Stability in, rents have also increased substantially, and
Hmm.
so stabilizing through home ownership, a steady mortgage payment that's not fluctuating, that's not keeping our nurses and teachers and first responders having to move because rents, go up and those type things. And so having a stable place and how that just as a overall economic cycle benefits us
Hmm.
over and over again to own a
Well,
home.
that's what drew me in, is seeing how difficult had become. My first concern was my business because of
Sure.
the timing that was involved. But then I'm older than you. My kids are older. My kids range in ages. My kids are 29, 31, 34, and 35.
Mhm.
And I was meeting their contemporaries who were not able to buy homes or delaying marriage or delaying having children. At the same time, you read the headlines, birth rates are collapsing, household formation. So where my initial concern was about my industry, my part of the industry, it immediately became a much bigger issue. And the much bigger
Sure.
issue are the people that you're describing.
Mhm.
So, what is your expectation that Georgia Residential Land Development Council, what can they do?
Sure.
What do you hope they can do?
Yeah, I really am excited about the GRLDC in that it's taking a statewide perspective. It's not just Atlanta that's short on housing, but it's Augusta and Savannah and our other markets. Also, I think that it's going to help streamline and be more efficient with the funds that we're using, as opposed it can solve one problem at the state level as opposed to trying to navigate and negotiate with all of our local cities and counties.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I really appreciate the fact that there's so many laws and regulations on the books right now that the state holds, that if we could just get back to some of those as being the basic standard law, that we're not trying to interpret with every city and county every time as we're doing business, and some of the lack of time frames
Mm-hmm.
that the GRLDC is working on, which is just free money to the consumer to save. It's costing us real money, but being able to streamline at a state level, whether it's the time for zoning, limiting the time that it takes to get zonings, or that zonings need to be heard, land disturbance permits, final plats, going through those. The state already has a final plat ordinance, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
The state already requires land surveyors to be licensed. And on top of that, we're platting uh, lots and communities that have been engineered by engineers that are required to meet state standards. And so
Right.
all of the extra red tape, if you will, at the local levels is just unnecessary expense that obviously we bear out in interest payments that are just passed on to the consumer.
You know, you mentioned time frames, and that's a good segue into House Bill 812, which we're working on right now. So last legislative session, the GRLDC was able to work with the Home Builder Association of Georgia and Austin Hackney and Cindy Morley there to get House Bill 812 teed up. And what House Bill 812 does is it says the municipality has 45 days to review the plans, and then it can't add comments to subsequent submittals. The reason we saw the logic in that, and you as a board member were instrumental in helping us get this far with it, was the municipalities all say they complete their review within 30 days now. We're saying, great, take 45 days, just complete the review. And anything you cite us for is a code item, which they say that's the case currently. So we're just saying, okay, fine, let's just formally put that on paper, and then that we agree that we're not going to add comments to second and hopefully there's no third reviews. And so far it seems like all heads are nodding. We've got sponsors, many co-sponsors at the legislative level. What are your thoughts on House Bill 812, and or do you have high expectations for that?
I do, and I think that it's something that when read it the first time that you shared it with me, and I watched your presentation on YouTube that was recorded there, I was surprised how efficient and quickly it got some traction. And so I'm very excited and look forward to seeing it get passed if it can. I think it will, and I think there's some momentum behind it, and some of those immediate changes just in the time frames are going to be phenomenal for us.
To that end, I've heard the phrase that deal won't pencil. Right as somebody is about to terminate a deal they're buying from me. Have you ever heard that? And can you explain what that means?
Yeah, it's just from a cost basis, and you're talking about maybe a land deal in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the big things that is in the industry is the cost of the carry cost. And so a lot of the things that deals that I'm doing with Dreamfinder Homes is we're underwriting deals, and the land costs may work, the construction development costs may work, and our home construction costs might work. But when you add on our carry costs, that's where the things, and it's a necessary cost, right? But it's something that's just overlooked, and but you put those, the land acquisition costs, the development costs, the construction costs, and your carry costs, and then you've got a bust there. And so that's what we seem to be running into a
And
lot.
so hopefully, if we can tighten the permit time, more deals will pencil, and Georgia land owners and land sellers will be able to get paid faster.
Absolutely.
And so that would be a good thing.
Yes.
So on back to House Bill 812, we think it's going to tighten up that time frame. We're very excited at Georgia Development Council on how that's going.
Hmm.
To that end, the people watching us today are industry professionals. We have the most significant people in the industry are part of Georgia Residential Land Development Council. And on November 18th, there's going to be a hearing at the Capitol, the offices across from the Capitol. And we really want to pack that hearing room with development professionals.
Yes.
And I know you've got an injury. You may be having surgery, but I'm hoping you'll be there.
I think I will be.
Good, good. And we're going to send this out, and hopefully we'll get some more people to come say hello to Neil Koelbl at the
Good.
Capitol.
Look forward to it.
You know, so that's a piece of work that Development Council's done. We know why you joined. And that's why we started it. The objectives going forward for people that want to join, we're going to be addressing things soon regarding minimum lot size, minimum house size, density, architectural restrictions, stormwater management, and platting processes and bonding processes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
And out of those things, do you think one more significant than the other? Do you think that we can make an impact on affordability if we can address those things?
Sure. So the market will take care of itself. It will tell us as an industry where we should be building and what we should be building in those areas. Um, uh, uh, Trying to put these expensive houses in places that simply just aren't getting those um, prices based upon resales and historical data um, and we all want a good product, but we've got to uh, remove the idea that bigger is better, more expensive, more detail, architectural requirements on that can only mean a quality house. Um, a well-built house is a structurally well-built house, and certainly we want um, based upon the size of the community, we want features that will work in there, the amenities, we want great entrances. I think as an industry, one thing that's interesting to me is we've all kind of moved into an area where we see the importance of that, and the industry has matured in a lot of ways. The '08 downturn eliminated, I think, it just naturally eliminated a lot of people that weren't maybe doing it correctly, and some people were, but a lot of and some people weren't. So I don't want to make a blanket statement about that, but I think the people that are here today is still in this business, um, that made it through some of those times there. Um, I think we're doing it a lot better, and so what I think that needs to happen is that the market needs to dictate in the specific areas. There's my thoughts is that there's a house for every market, but we've got to be able to meet the market.
What's stopping you from meeting the market now?
Yeah, just a lot of the regulations concerning creek crossings, for instance, what we're determining as jurisdictional waters has gotten way out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then a lot of the moratorium issues that we face keep us from actually being able to even get deals on the ground. Or you get deals on the ground and you can't, and there's a moratorium on building permits. Those are the type things that we're running into. That
Can you
keep
explain what a
us.
moratorium is?
Well, what I know as a moratorium is that for various reasons, the local city councils and uh, county councils have decided that they want to rewrite an ordinance, or there's something that they feel like they're growing too fast, and they're usually very secretive. Usually, I find out about them as soon as the night they happen to show up on one of the council's agendas, and they vote for these moratoriums. And so it's a way of stopping applying for a land development permit to and it's or to apply for permits to build a house. And so I'm sure there's other industries that experience this, and I just aren't aware of them. But there's very few businesses that, for instance, that you'd put a moratorium on the guy selling gas or groceries, all of a sudden just stop his business.
Right.
Um, uh, ordinances can be rewritten while we're building and developing, and there's infrastructure planning. Shouldn't need a knee-jerk reaction, whether they're worried about water or sewer, and all of a sudden we just need to stop the entire building industry in a city or a county. Those things should really have been thought out well before we've gotten to that point.
When you
So
mention other businesses, I think about an analogy we use that some of the things that we face, some of the requirements at the municipal level, is as if we went to Publix and they were only allowed to sell Dom Perignon and filet mignon.
yeah,
And I might want hamburger, and I can only afford hamburger, but I'm going to go hungry that day because the government said I can only buy this steak and this champagne. And it seems like it's as
great
ridiculous.
analogy.
It's that ridiculous with us.
Yeah.
So I just mentioned density, lots, homes, architectural restrictions, platting reform, bonding reform, and you added some more elephants in the room, moratoriums, creek crossings, and some of the things that go with that. We have state stream buffers are mostly around 25 feet. We'll get into places where the municipality has raised it to 100 feet. We don't know why. And what that does, it reduces the value of the land to the person who owns the land, and it reduces the utility of the land to the people like us who'd like to use it. Well, Neil, thank you for helping us understand a little bit of what Development Council is taking on.
Well, I appreciate your leadership in that area and getting this thing going.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And the people who are watching this, once again, please keep in mind November 18th. We want to really have a full house. A lot of you know people on the committee. We're going to get those names out to you. We've got those sent to us recently. We've made a lot of headway. We've met one gubernatorial candidate. We've met all the leadership of the various committees we'll be going into. And so far, they see the logic of what we're trying to do. And one thing that should be heartening to all of us in the industry is that no one argues that there's an affordability problem. 70% of Georgians cannot afford a new home, or 70% of Georgians who would buy a new home can't afford a new home. And people know that. They know that we need 35,000 lots a year to be platted, and that we're only going to plat about 15,000. That's just in the North Georgia area. And I don't know the disparity in Savannah or Augusta. And I need to get those numbers together. But anyway, Neil, thank you so much, and thank you for being a driving force on GRLDC.
Thank you.